Lane 8 is at the top of your screen, lane 1 at the bottom. You count 4 up, and that's Zalan Sarkany. Since this is such a long race, there were no prelims, meaning this is a timed final. Unlike other races, earlier heats are eligible to win. This is the A final. 2 heats took place early. And the time to beat Lucas Henvo of Cal from Heat 1, 14:48.8. And it's possible, Amy, that could stand up.
Yeah, I think that it will, and there's a very good chance. And we'll have to see it. That'll be interesting because we talk about it all the time, Rich, that these are timed finals. But we never really see that happen. I'm telling you what, though, that swim that was put down earlier this afternoon was so good. So we're going to have to definitely keep our eye and see if Matheson or anybody else can keep up with them.
Yeah, I think the guy leading right now is Zalan Sarkany in the white cap. There he is, and Budapest, Hungary native. 3 weeks ago yesterday, he broke the Sun Devil record in his first ever 1650. He swam a 14:49.6, which is 1.2 seconds slower than Lucas Henvo's time from Heat 1. So he's certainly within range of beating it. He's an open water swimmer, didn't really swim in the pool, the juniors in European swimming for Hungary. An open water swimmer, and he is still working on his turns.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? It's not bad. I don't mean to say it like that, but there's always things that you can improve on. Look at his stroke. I always talk about getting that glide up front. Remember pitching your fingers down, going over that wine barrel. He's doing a great job of that. And it's really interesting to see how these guys are swimming. Remember, you can swim on the lane line, which is kind of happening right here. In lane 5 right there with Matheson. He is riding right now to actually not have to work as hard. Let's be honest, right? It's almost like riding a wave. And so he's just kind of chilling out, letting his teammate take over for him and use all of his energy.
Like drafting off a big semi, you get some gas mileage.
Exactly. Or, you think of a bike race, right? Where they have the guy out front who breaks the wind. That's kind of what's happening here. Great turns.
Zalan Sarkany of ASU in lane 4 with the lead, and behind him, Daniel Matheson, his Arizona State teammate.
Both looking so good. I love how they just plane their hands out front. They get that nice streamline, and it is great. You can definitely tell when someone is an open water swimmer. They're just going to kind of hang back, not really use a lot of their energy, but they get great distance per stroke, which is awesome to see. So this is really fun.
Zalan Sarkany brings needed distance strength to Arizona State. Bob Bowman says that distance is near and dear to his heart, but until now they haven't done it at the highest level. And he told Swimming World that having Sarkany in training has raised everybody's level among the distance group.
Yeah, well, of course, when you have someone that is that good, right, and everyone else, they only get better because they're in the pool every day practicing. And you get to see what is making them so good, and then you can also practice and be as close to them as this, which is really, really spectacular. And I will tell you, if I didn't have a lot of the greats with USA Swimming that I trained with, I wouldn't have done what I did. There's no way. Everyone raises each other up.
Just past the 400-yard mark, you see the lap counters, and so they're reminding the swimmers how far they have to go. And so it's at 17 where Zalan Sarkany, that was 17 links of the pool. He's about to reach 18 links of the pool, which is 450 yards.
And those counters are also used for other things as well. So, they're shaking them up and down, they're swinging them from side to side, getting some real good feedback from their teammates, but also if you look on the side of the pool, you can see it right there, hands up, saying, yes, that's really good. You can hear whistles. That's coaches telling these athletes what they need them to do. Trust me, these athletes are paying attention. They can hear the whistles. They know their coach's whistle, which is really funny, but you definitely know your coach's whistle.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
The only whistle I would recognize would be Dave Salo, the longtime coach of USC. There's Bob Bowman.
Yep, they were whistling just a second ago.
Bob's the one without the hair.
Oh my!
With the notes in his hand, watching his swimmers intently, and even whistling is.
Yep.
Zalan Sarkany has the lead over fellow Sun Devil Daniel Matheson.
There's technique in the pool, Rich, there's also technique on the side of the pool. As you see, Bob Bowman was not using the fingers to make the whistle. Some coaches like to use the fingers to make the whistle. It's their choice, but you can definitely tell that your coach's whistle. And so there's a lot of communication that is going on with these athletes that are in the water, with the counter, and with their coach.
I spoke with Bob earlier today, and I asked him about the inspirational quotes he gives his swimmers.
Yeah.
He said, not today, not for competition, but for training. He gives them a card that tells them what they're going to do that day, and on the back there's an inspirational quote. And I said, what's your favorite? And he said, a year from now, you'll wish you'd started today.
Oh, Bob, stop it.
And I said, who said that? He said, I did.
Not the great Nostradamus, the great Bob Bowman. I love that.
Yeah,
We should write a book of them because they are really good.
Right, and I like that. A year from now, you'll wish you started today.
And it's very true. Think about that. Like, you know, we just had New Year's not too long ago, and everyone makes those resolutions. Why not start today? Don't worry about the first. Just start today. I need to remember that when getting back into the gym. Let's just start today.
We're approaching the halfway point here. This is the 700-yard mark coming up for Zalan Sarkany in the white cap in lane 4, right in the middle. The other white cap is his Sun Devils teammate, Daniel Matheson. And then just above Matheson in the black cap is Liam Custer of Stanford. And then in lane 7-2 from the top, that's Dylan Becker of Utah. At the very top, Mason Nybor of Arizona. Down toward the bottom closest to you, David Mertz of USC. And just above him, that's Gabe Machado of Stanford. And then in lane 3 from the bottom, that's Jack Meehan of Cal. But it's Zalan Sarkany trying to beat the earlier posted time of 14:48.84 that Lucas Henvo of Cal had in heat number 1.
Love watching these swimmers again because everyone paces it differently. And it's fun to watch and try to guess who is pacing what and how they're pacing it.
You know what's interesting, Sarkany just joined ASU in January, and the guy who posted the time to beat Lucas Henvo just joined Cal at the same time. And there's Henvo. He is cheering on his teammate Jack Meehan, who is in lane number 3. And Henvo again earlier in heat number 1, 14:48.8.
And he just looked so smooth and spectacular. But that's not taking anything away from any of these guys in this heat because they're all swimming very, very well and very fast. So it's going to be a close one, I think. And we can see right there in lane 4, I mean, everyone's starting to get that white water behind them a little bit. They're starting to get their turnover going just a little bit more as we get further into the race.
Again, Lucas Henvo of Cal, the time to beat. There he is. Lucas was a competitive swimmer until age 14. Then he focused on golf, became a very good player, and he decided less than 2 years ago to give competitive swimming a try again. And he was good enough to make the Belgian national team, where he's been training the past year and a half. Graduated from college in Belgium last fall, and then joined the Cal Bears in January.
I mean, why not? Why not? And he's doing a great job, and it's fun to see him with the lead time still cheering on his teammate. It just shows you the sportsmanship that we've got here in sports, and I love to see it. It's really cool for everybody to support each other because you only make each other better that way.
Zalan Sarkany of Arizona State trying to beat that earlier posted time. He is in lane number 4.
He's got a different breathing style. I really like it. It almost looks like his head is very low in the water and he just kind of barely turns his head right there. But you can see how he's getting that nice extension out front. He's throwing his arms forward. As I mentioned before, you don't want to use a lot of energy outside of the water. You want to save it for inside the water. So it doesn't matter what it looks like on the outside. Just take your arms, throw them forward. And he's doing a nice job. And look at his rotation. You can really see it. Nice rotation over that spine. Around the spine, pardon me.
At the previous wall, he had 1,000 yards, and he did so in a time of 8:50. And the NCAA record set by Clark Smith 8 years ago, 8:33. So only 17 seconds off of that at the 1,000-yard mark.
So, Rich, you may be noticing right here, you know, when we watch a 50, 100, a 200, let's go even a 500, you see a lot of white water behind them, a lot of kicking. Katie Ledecky does this too. It's a 2-beat kick right there. You can see barely moving, 2-beat kick, bing, 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 bing. And the reason they're doing that is because, again, your legs are the biggest muscle in your body. So if you're using them a lot, you're using a lot more oxygen, a lot more energy. So these longer distance swimmers will not kick up their legs until they really have to at the very end of the race when they're trying to, finish hard. So that's why you see a lot less whitewater behind them, and I do get very excited when the whitewater kicks up because we know someone's moving fast.
At what point do they start to kick more? How close to the end?
It depends on the swimmer, right? So some swimmers will do it 100 meters or 100 yards out. Then you've got Bobby Fink, who is the top distance swimmer in America right now, and he starts kicking it up with only 50 left. But of course, he swims the last 50 like an actual 50. It is the funnest thing to watch.
That's what I love about the mile, when people bring it home with a big kick, especially when it's close at the end. This one could be close, but it's more of Zalan Sarkany of ASU chasing the clock, chasing the previous time posted by Cal's Lucas Henvo from an earlier heat of 14:48.
This is when you swim inside your lane lines. I talk about it all the time. It doesn't matter about anything else except for what is happening in between those two lane lines that you are swimming in, because this is a timed final. You are concentrating on your best race, and you hope that it will get the top time. But that's the only thing that you can do. So, when people are starting to pay attention to too much going on in the outside, that's what all the swimmers say, swim in your own lane lines.
So Sarkany, who in his first collegiate meet broke a 39-year-old ASU record in the 1,000 free set by Scott Brackett in 1984. He broke it again the next day and again 2 weeks later. When he broke it, his time in the 1,000 was 8:50. In the 1,000 today, his time was 8:50.
Oh, that's awesome.
And swimmers have an internal clock in their head.
Yes, they do all the time. They know exactly what pace that they are going right now in this water, and that's what's really, really cool. They'll go and talk to their coach, and their coach will tell them exactly what it was, but you pretty much know it inside your head. And we're talking about Sarkany right there. We're looking at the counter as the counter is going up, meaning that we're getting closer to the end. But look at his stroke right there, Rich. You can almost see him as he puts his hand in the water, grabbing onto that water, because remember, I've talked about it before. You're not swimming on top of the water. You're trying, or through the water. You're trying to swim on top of the water. And I know that sounds weird, but you want to grab that water and you want to pull it behind you. So you just pull yourself up and over, almost like think about a one-arm pull-up.
Bob Bowman and his staff shouting for Sarkany. He just passed the 1,350-yard mark, so there were 300 yards to go the last time he came this direction. So 250 yards to go for Sarkany.
It's still looking really good. Bob's getting excited now because Bob knows that he is close. He is very close to that time that was posted earlier today. And Bob, I love looking at him when he's got a swimmer who's doing that, because he gets just as nervous for his swimmers, and he lets it show outwardly. Look at that, whistle, look at it, they're pointing. And they're saying, go, 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 hurry up. So they know exactly what pace he's on.
Bob Bowman, of course, longtime mentor to Michael Phelps, the 23-time Olympic gold medalist. So we are approaching the 1,500-yard mark. That'll be at the next wall for Sarkany in the white cap. Now, the swimmer below him is Jack Meehan of Cal, and Sarkany is about to lap him. The guy in the white cap has the lead. Lane number 4 from the bottom. There he is. He's about to lap Jack Meehan.
And, when you're the swimmer being lapped, it's just got to be a little bit disheartening, right? When you see the guy who's leading go past you and you're like, oh, man, I thought I was doing so well, but there he is.
Oh, you're facing some elite competition, to be sure. Zalan Sarkany, the freshman from Budapest, Hungary. Great swimming nation. The World Championships were there last summer.
And look at how high on the water he rides. I always talk about when you are a really good swimmer, you know how to, again, be on top of the water. And you can see his booty out of the water. You can see almost his whole back. Really talented swimmers can do that. And as you taper, those talented swimmers actually rise up in the water.
Just a little more than 50 yards to go. This is the bell turn for Zalan Sarkany of ASU. Again, the time to beat 14:48.84 from an earlier heat, Lucas Henvo of Cal.
And if I'm looking at it right now, Rich Burke, I'm thinking that he may actually surpass that time and end up winning. But we'll have to see. We still have 25 to go.
So again, the time to beat 14:48.84. Zalan Sarkany of ASU coming to the finish here, and he is going to get it. Zalan Sarkany of Arizona State, 14:41.65. That is a new Arizona State school record, and he wins the 1650.
And he wins it with a great swim.